So you give this chart to your friend or relative, spouse, and you say, here's zone 1. Every time I'm there for a while, put a check mark here. Every time I go to zone 2, put a check mark. Zone 3, check mark 4, 5, 6. Then when you finish checking those off, look on your chart, because it says, ask a friend to watch you speak and check the number of times you move to various parts of the room from areas 1 to 6. This is 1, this is 6. As well as the number of times you stay in a certain zone. So look at the yellow, that's this one. Here's the red, and here's the blue. Yellow, red, blue. Yellow, ineffective zones. This is ineffective. How many times did you stay behind the podium? So you take your total here and you put it here. And then the person who's doing this should say their recommendation. What did they feel about this as they watched you? Then the red is 3 and 4. How many times 3 and 4? And your recommendation. This is called the dynamic zone. It's got the 2 blues, 5 and 6. When you look at this, you'll get a big aha. Then next week, give it out again and try to make it what you want. If you've been living back here, it's because you gave in to some giants. Invisible giants, and I want to show you a picture of 4 giants that we are talking about in our course. On the left is one of the giants. Look how he is afraid, just kind of ignorant. Then look at the powerful red guy. He is strong and he's not happy. He's kind of intimidating. That's his name, intimidation. Then look at the scaredy cat, number 3. He is inhibition. Inhibition. The first one is ignorance. I just don't know. I don't know about this stuff. I didn't know how to think about this. This is intimidation. The second one, the third one is inhibition. And the fourth one is indifference. I don't care. I don't care. I'm not changing anything. Now let me go on and talk about this just a little bit in our next slide. Our next slide shows the fact that those 4 giants make each one of us who teach and preach and communicate feel overwhelmed. And they influence us, and they become bigger in our mind. Let's go to the next level. The challenge then is, how do we slay them? How do we get rid of those 4 giants so that finally, in the next slide, we can see that we're big and they're small in our lives? Until, look up here for a minute. Is there any giant, do you think, in my life about movement that's stopping me from doing anything I want with movement? Do you think there's one? No. Now, what I want to do is to show you how the giants work. There's 2 different giants I want to talk about for a minute. One is intimidation. Timid. You become timid. The other one is inhibition. Intimidation is, just listen, it's not in your workbook. It's when you make me afraid. You intimidate me. The other one is the exact opposite. It's inhibition. It's inside of me. Here is the intimidation, giant, overwhelmingly powerful, leaning against you, which we wonder, what are you going to think about me if I do this? Or what if I don't do it right? What are you going to say? The second one is inhibition. That's where I have fears inside of me that aren't related to you. I'm not comfortable moving out here. I'm afraid of this. It's outside of my comfort zone. It's nothing to do with you. It's me. And so what inhibition does is inhibition fears kind of circle around you like this cartoon of the speaker, and the inhibition is pushing on the speaker to keep the speaker behind. That's what this is. It's called fear. And the fear is internal, not external. Take a look at the next cartoon. As inhibition chains you, it chains you to the podium. This is what you're not comfortable with. So there's a percentage of us here who are not comfortable at all about walking to the back of the platform or coming off the platform and walking out there. You know why? Because before the session began, you were walking all around here and you were talking to everybody and you weren't inhibited. And when I realized, when I was first learning this, that I was scared to death to come to this place of the platform, and I was scared to death to come to this place of the platform, but when it was my turn to teach, I came up this, and I walked on that tape, and I walked on that tape, and I had no fear. And then when I was here, I was scared to death to go back over there. Right? It's my comfort zone in this role. Well, let's go to the next one real quickly. Style behavior number 2. Focus your eyes to rivet attention and connect with every student. This is a key. And here is our chart. Give this out to your spouse or a friend and say, okay, I want you to check off. All right, look at yellow is ineffective. Red is effective in this case, and these are secondary zones. So, what's the worst thing to do with your eyes? Answer, watch, read your notes. They don't want to see this part of my life. When they don't see my eyes, their mind starts straying because your eyes controls a lot of what's taking place. The second most ineffective place is looking above the audience. And there's lots of people that do this. They talk and they go over there. And then they talk and they go over there. That loses your audience. The primary zones in this illustration are zone 3, 4, 5, and 6, which in this category, on Sunday, this was filled. There's 1,000 people here. This would have been zone 3, 4, 5, 6. When I preached, if you'd have watched, I would be talking to here. I would be talking up there. I'd come down there and talk. I'd pick a person right here. And I'd talk to that one person for a minute till they nodded. Then I'd go over here. And because there were people all the way up to the very extremes, I had to come over here and look at them, especially over to this corner, and get their eyes every once in a while so that the audience will stay in effect. So, that's pretty self-explanatory. Just get somebody to do zone 1, zone 2, zone 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, which is all here, and you'd really learn what's taking place. For people who are uncomfortable with eyes, and you become very self-conscious. Okay, that's a key one. You become what? Self-conscious. Teaching is all about not being about you. And I remember when I was a young man, an old preacher said to me, when I told him I was scared of the audience, he said, "Why are you so selfish?" I almost fell over, and I said, "Why did you say that?" Because all you're thinking about is you. Stop thinking about you. Start thinking about them, and your self-consciousness will leave. And he's right. When you get started, therefore, if you're a bit uncomfortable, pick out somebody in the audience that has a happy, smiley face. They may have heartburn, you don't sure, and look at them, and then find somebody else and look at them until you relax a little bit, and then you can move your eye contact. Make sure you use contact on a person every once in a while. Just stay at that person. Everybody in the room is wondering what's happening. And because you're wondering what's happening, what happened to your attention? I grabbed it. I grabbed it by doing what? Using my eyes to stay focused where you're not expecting it. What am I doing? There's nobody there. There's nobody there. What just happened in the room? You all wondered, what are they saying to him? Well, they weren't saying anything to me. What was my point, though? Your eyes direct the attention of your audience. So sometimes, when you notice attention is lagging, grab somebody with your eyes. And if you feel comfortable with movement, keep your eyes on the person. Look at this. You notice something's going on, right? I grabbed your attention again. I'm walking and I'm looking this way. That's not normal. Something's going on. You want to know what it is. There's nothing going on. And then come back and then walk down and just go on. And you've got your attention back again. So take a look then at the eyes. Make sure that you give this as a quiz to yourself. Point number 3. Vary your voice as a musical instrument to deliver your content with style. Please star this one. This is a powerful, powerful tool of style. Take a look at this cartoon of a person speaking, and they drone on and on and on and on and on, and look how bored the person is. Okay, what's really happening? Their voice is in the boredom zone. I've done this. I've watched and listened to so many people studying what is the tone of voice of boredom. Because people who are boring speak in the same zone. Yes, they do. They're just below middle, and they're right here. So it's so happy to have you here, and I'm delighted to have you a part of today. Today is going to be a very exciting day for us to be together, and that's boring. So let's take a look at this voice for a minute. There are three parts of your voice: soft to loud voice. So when you really want to grab somebody's attention in your delivery, you can go extremely loud and deal with the issue of something that must grab the audience. Loud. You can be just as dramatic with the other. This is so gripping. It's just so, oh my goodness. It's just as powerful as here. Another one of these is your tone of voice. That is, how low are you and how high of a voice do you have? How soft and loud, how low, and how high. This is how slow do you speak. Boring people speak a little too slow all the time. And how high or low, they're a little bit lower of mid-range. And soft and loud, they're below mid-range. Here is the boring zone. They're a little bit soft, they're a little bit low in tone of voice, and they're a little bit slow. So if you wanted to just have an interesting thing, tape yourself the next time you speak and just listen to your tone and how fast do you speak. I remember one year I was asked to go speak in Brazil, and they brought many of the leaders, religious leaders of the country together, and I was one of 3 speakers. And they said to me the most powerful speaker in Brazil was going to be speaking at the conference with me. I thought, my goodness, I was a bit intimidated by that. Well, he opened the conference up. He was astonishing. I mean to tell you, none of us moved. He was remarkable. I wanted to kind of fly home. And then I got up the next morning and I spoke, and it did fine. And then he spoke again, and it was over the top, and I was a little bit less interested. And he spoke that night, same power, and I was a lot less interested. And on the third day, I wasn't interested in what he was talking about very much. And he noticed it. And the people's interest in what I was saying grew every day. And he said to me, Can I buy you supper? You want to buy me supper? Yes. I've noticed that every time I speak, the people are less interested, and every time you speak, the people are more interested, and I don't know why. I said, well, my content isn't any better than your content, that's for sure. Your content's terrific. And I said, the people obviously don't love me more than they love you. You are, highly admired in the country. And he said to me, what's my problem? I said, do you really want to know? Yes. So I took a paper napkin, I took off my pen, and I drew them this. I said, when you speak, how loud are you on a scale of 1 to 10? I said, no, I'm intense. I said, yes, sir, you are. So where do you go on here? Because I didn't draw these lines yet. He said, no, I'm a 9. I'm right here. Yes, you are. 9 and 10. And How fast do you speak? Oh, I'm fast. Yeah, I'm 9 or 10. Okay. And I had another one for him called intense and relaxed. I said, where are you? Because this was really his issue. How intense are you? Oh, man, I'm 10. I believe in what I'm teaching. Yes, you do. And you're at a 10. When you're at a 10 and you want to make a really important point, where do you go? What do you mean? Where do you go to emphasize? You're already at 10. I go to the top of 10. Yes, you do. And when you don't want to emphasize something, where do you go? No, I stay at 10. Yes, you do. What happens to us after a while when you're at 10 all the time? You tire us out. You exhaust us. And I said, where do I go? He said, you're from here and you're from here. You're all over the place. Yes. So if I'm here and I want to have a major emphasis, how much room do I have to make my emphasis? Oh, man. That's right. So the point is for you. How loud do you get? And how soft do you get? And how much do you move? And how low do you get? And how high do you get? And how slow do you come? And how fast do you become? It's your range. And if your range is from here to here, you're going to be boring. You're going to be boring. You're predictable. If it's from here to here, you're boring. So it's how much you move from. So let's try this high and low for a minute. And so when that man walked up to me and he took out his notebook, I began to say to myself, oh no, if he. That was 1. That was 10. How soon did that occur? About 2 seconds. What did I do to all of you? I grabbed your attention. What is style to do? Grab attention so they learn it. So my point to you is, who's in control of your voice? You are. Stop living in the selfish zone. This is selfish. Why is it selfish? Because it's not meeting the needs of the people you're serving. This is boring. Stop living here. Stop. I remember I was on the side of the Black Sea in Russia, and there's this huge meeting of educators, and I was the main speaker, and there was a main speaker from the Russian Department of Education. And he was a wonderful man that was terribly boring. Oh! And he heard me talk about this because he lived right here. He never left there. He believed that was academic. That's not academic, that's boring. And he got up in the next session and said, I have discovered why I am so boring. And I have decided I am leaving the boundaries of boredom. And he changed his voice in one session, and he held our attention. You can change this overnight. Style behavior number 4, change your posture. Change your posture to subtly communicate your desired attitudes. What do I mean by that? It's my body shape. So here's posture. What's my posture saying? Whoa. What's my posture saying? Yeah. Okay, wait a minute now. This is body talking to you. There's no words. I'm not moving. I'm using, look at my posture. I'm revealing a secret. So I have a secret body language. So use your posture. If you want to become really personal, come on, bring your seat around and change your posture. If I didn't have all these mics on, I would have taken off my coat a long time ago. To change your posture. If you change your posture and you lean toward the audience, there's my posture. And if my palms are up versus my palms down versus my palms like this, I really want you to know this. What are you feeling? I really want you to know this. What are you feeling? No, he's not. He's pushing me away. What does this say? I really want you to get this. Palms up always has acceptance and harmony connected to it. What's this? You really, look at this. Whoa. It's your mom yelling at you. What does that say? I remember my mom yelling at me like this, and now my teacher's yelling at me out like this. Posture. Posture. Use your posture to communicate. Next point. Dramatize your gestures to heighten the nonverbal delivery of your content. Gestures is extremely powerful. Here's a passage. It's not in your notebook. It's Acts chapter 18. And it reads about Apollos. And it says, Apollos, an eloquent man, mighty in scripture, fervent in spirit, spoke boldly, vigorously refuted the Jews publicly, showing from the scriptures that Jesus is the Christ. You are fervent in spirit at times. You speak boldly, you vigorously. That's called style. Well, I want to talk to you about your gestures. Okay. That means my arm, my hand, my fingers is a gesture. Nothing to do with my legs, nothing to do with my posture. It's this. What's the most boring gesture? None. That's boring. These are to move. When you stand back and you watch two people talking who don't know you're watching them, and you watch their gestures, it's all over the place. It's all over the place. When the same people walk up the steps, move into the role of teacher, they move into the boring gesture zone. What is that? Small gestures. Small, condensed, slow. What's powerful gestures that grab your attention? It's quick. It's out here. It uses your fingers as a tool to grab the audience in any way that you want. You have two of these. You can do whatever you want to do with your hands and your gestures. You can use your hands to your benefit. And let's use this to show you what I mean on the chart. The gesture diagnostic chart. And again, the yellow is the boring part, the red is the so-so part, and the blue is the most intense. The tight zone. Zone 1 is right here. It's where boring people communicate. If you watch on TV somebody speaking, turn down the volume so you can't hear the person and watch their gestures. If their gestures are right here, they'll be boring to you. Zone number 2 is medium. You're halfway extended. You're out here. That's better than here. It's here. But wide is where you grab the attention. Way out here. Big gestures, movement gestures. Next one is zone number 4. It's when you go above your ears. You grab something higher. I did this repeatedly in the conference on releasing God's blessing. I reached for a lever. Remember that? I reached for a lever time after time. What is that? That's a gesture that forced your eyes up here, as I talked about up there. And my eyes followed my gesture, so I forced your eyes to look at my hand. You would think about pulling down the lever and opening the bin of those blessings. Use your gesture to communicate what you're trying to say to your audience. Low is seldom used unless you are trying to deal with a negative attitude. A negative attitude, I felt just so down. Look at my hand. So down. So down. This isn't near down? No. Down. I felt so discouraged. Look at my body. Discouraged. And if I use platform, so discouraged. Shoulders down. This isn't your acting. When you're discouraged at home, that's what you do. We all are discouraged with the same look. We walk slower, our voice is depressed, our shoulders are down, we look down at the floor, we are unhappy. So when you're talking about that, then act that way like you do at home. And the other powerful one that is seldom used is zone 6, which is when you have a gesture that's out towards your audience. This grabs your attention again. And the backward zone is tone number 7. Again, it's not used that often, but again, it's a tool for you. So you take a look and you have your friends fill out the zones just like we've been talking so far. Does that make sense to you? Okay, good. And number 6, plan your appearance to harmonize with your content and your audience. Make sure if you have a serious situation that you don't dress like this gentleman right here. If you're in a serious environment, you should wear dark clothes. Dark clothes. When you're at a party or it's going to be an upbeat message, you should have brighter clothes. You want to match. Why? You're giving off a frequency at all times. Your voice is a frequency, and your appearance is a frequency. And if I had a very dark blue tie on, and a dark suit, and black shoes, and a starched white shirt, I'm coming formal to you. And you know, if I'm dressed this way, my tone of voice should be formal, because I'm communicating formal. And if I'm going to have an upbeat time, my sermon or my lesson is upbeat, and I dress like this, you're confusing your audience the entire time. You're communicating seriousness, and the rest of your body is communicating, I'm not really serious, so they don't know if you are or if you aren't. So put the two together and think to yourself, what am I going to be communicating, and how should I dress? All right, the next one. Number 7, use your facial expressions to support the tone of your content. So that wraps up communicating with style. We gave you part 1 were the principles of style, and part 2 were the 7 tools of style. Did these 2 sessions on body language and style and delivery and body, how helpful was that to you as a person? I would say it helped me a whole lot. Let me see your hands. That's great.